October 7th at sunrise, a musical festival was underway. Attendees are represented by the Libra ascendant. Libra is a sign for music and is an air sign. Unbeknownst to them, there would be travelers behind them in the air. Mercury also represents two, men in twos descending on the concert. Mercury ruling the mind is trining Pluto, representing revenge. These travelers' minds were on revenge, and they were able to carry it out. These are just some of the clues you can find from the Nova Crime chart. Val Evans and intuitive medium Amy J analyze the charts and clues and discuss the eclipses tonight. Hello, everyone. I'm Val Evans, and I'm joined by Amy J. Good to see you, Amy.
Good to see you. Hi, everyone.
We have been busy the past couple of weeks. It has been eclipse season, and if you recall the last time that we broadcast, both of us were feeling pretty strange, and we were talking about it too.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to go ahead and say that Uranus was at play that broadcast, which was, I believe, 2 Sundays ago. And we're talking about the eclipse, and then suddenly you had something happen, which you had to attend to, a family member. So we had to stop the broadcast, and I would say, and I'm hoping that everything is much better today with your family member.
Yes, she's doing a lot better. It was my mother-in-law, and she's doing a lot better. So,
But she fell.
oh yeah, she fell and she did break her wrist.
I mean, it's awful that we were talking about how something wasn't feeling right, and then Uranus reared its ugly head. And then I think that was also maybe a precursor for the next week or two, because we're in eclipse season. So just had the solar eclipse, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. I have had a lot of different people talk to me or reach out. It causes a lot of things, but we have to remember that there's always a bright light. There's a silver lining to the cloud, so things are taken out. But
and I think that time that we had, when we had stuff going on, I was hearing from other people too that were having family type issues. So there must have been something in that chart that was in the chart of family and home.
Yes,
because
exactly.
a lot of people were having just things go on with their family and in their home. So
And and sometimes it can be tragic. It can be upsetting. I know some people who have gotten in some accidents. Excuse me. Of course, I would not want to, we don't want to fear factor it here, but it is the unexpected. So, we just kind of keep going. We got to keep moving. And I am now, as of October 5th, in my Saturn mini dasha. So some of you know the Vedic calendar system, and it calculates what phases that you're in. And so that can be, I've noticed my mind thinks about death and the past. And so you got to talk yourself out of it. You got to say, stop. You got to say, stop it. So there are little ways that you can do that. Thankfully it's only for a few months, and there are a lot of things that you can do to remedy Saturn. But in this show, we're going to be talking about October 7th and the Nova rave that occurred on that Saturday, and it's just been in the news. So it is a crime chart. We would appreciate if everybody could keep it to astrology, and we want to keep this on and not have to take it down. So thank you, Angel D. Angel's always on and supporting us. Hope and happiness. Good to see you. And I can't believe it. Grace herself is on. Good to see you, Grace. And Sweetly Morbid Bear. I love that name.
It's a great name.
Yes. So So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk. I'm gonna bring this up, and this is the crime chart. Now, last time I was able to make some notes, which I'm gonna try to do this time too. But this is really interesting because, first of all, the eclipse is in Libra. So if you have some planets in Libra, if any planets are squaring uh, the Libra area, you're going to get an effect from this eclipse. And it would also be a fact with this crime chart. You'll notice how many planets are in Libra. So Libra means the air. It means an air
Mm.
sign. And so look at how Mercury is right on the ascendant, which represents the ascendant are the victims. So there's something small in the air in twos, and it's right at 3 degrees. So 1 degree would be right behind them. I'm thinking, within a mile at this time. This is at 6 a.m. So,
That's
so how crazy is that? First of all,
that is crazy.
and so, if you see a planet in the 12th house, you don't want to stop at that point. You want to see, well, what rules the 12th house? And that would be Virgo. And isn't it interesting that Virgo is the maiden? It's like a maiden voyage. And this was going to be the first time they were going to try this. They being, Mars would be men, and next to Mars is South Node, which would be men of the religious kind. And also, it means bloodshed. These people, bloodshed. Remember, Mars is blood. South Node is to shed. So it's right there in the first house, meaning they were about to come right out in front. First house is in front and in the air. So, what a just an absolute shock. And you're
Yeah.
listening to these people on YouTube and on the news, and it's just amazing what they went through. One man described how everybody was running, and they all had to take different directions. A lot were jumping and hiding in orchards and fruit orchards, and so you can see how that translates a little bit here. You know, Taurus is farmland. So that's gonna,
I was gonna
there
say it was more of an open space, wasn't
yeah,
it?
there's like
Okay,
desert,
okay.
you've got the kibbutzes, which are that translates into group, which would be Mercury, which is probably the strongest planet in this chart. So it's it's a little bit crazy. And so let me see if I can
What
try
about
to
timing? Is there like, where would you look
um,
for, like, or planning?
let me see here. Hold on one second. I'm going to try to about planning it. Yeah, I think we can do that. I think what I'm going to have to do is I got to share my
I don't wanna
screen.
mess you up if you had something
No,
else
no,
on there.
not
I'm
at
just
all.
like I just
No, I
feel
love
like
it.
there
I
was a
love a suggestion. Can you see this? Let's see. How about now?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
And I should be able to I tried this last time and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay, it's like a red mark.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm always surprised every time, it's like it works or it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Oh
technology,
my god.
absolutely.
All right, so oops. So now what we're gonna do is, I'll just mark this up a little bit. It's actually kind of this one has all the minor aspects on it. Oh, we're gonna do his chart too.
Oh,
Um, Let me see if I put the other one on. Put Daniel Pearl in there too, and there's a reason for that. Now you just saw my slides. Okay. So, this is the complicated one, but there is a T square here.
oh,
Um, and so you would think that with Mercury being travel or transit and it squaring part of fortune is success.
yeah.
And so it's like, well, they definitely had success. So why is it squaring? Which is a good question. So
Oh,
what we're going to get into that in a second. And then the other thing too. um, is that these were revenge riders in a sense, because remember, Pluto always, we're going to talk a lot about Pluto and Scorpio tonight, of course, because this is a crime chart,
Yeah,
and that
absolutely.
represents crime. But you've got that blue line there going to Pluto. So you put them together. They are able to take revenge.
Mm.
But for some reason, it's like they're not, at this moment, they are not able to. Perhaps they had a plan and it didn't go exactly the way they wanted it to. So
Okay.
I think maybe they wanted to. Third house is like neighborhoods. It's very close, and maybe they couldn't land where they wanted to, so they had to land down here, um, in a place that was a little bit further. I guess we're going to find out in some of the reports, but
Okay.
interesting that it says that. I don't really have an explanation for that. And
Hmm.
let's see. So, I guess, and I don't want it to go too long before we get a card, but because we have a lot of people who want to see the cards as well as the chart. I
Yeah.
think I think one thing I want to know is maybe, and you also, if you have a question you'd like to ask too, maybe I should ask you if there's anything that pops in your head first before I jump in.
No, I'll let you ask your question. That'll
Okay.
get me started.
Um, I guess what I would like to know is, what don't we know yet? I mean, it seems like we know everything.
Oh,
We see, it seems like all the accounts are coming out. We know that it was a surprise attack. But is there something that we don't know yet? That's what I would like to know.
I do feel like something about the plan is off.
Really? Okay.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know why I ask it. Oh, lots of cards are coming out.
Yep. You should check
Okay.
Palace. Uh,
So just, yeah, what's the, what do we need to know? Or what don't we know? Or wouldn't,
Angel is saying, "Can you see if this is going to start a war with the world?" Well, we can also look at Netanyahu's
oh.
charts too.
Well, this is the first card that flew out, and it's passion ignited.
Oh my God.
So something was I believe it was planned because we also got the patience in planning.
Oh.
But I think something ignited it possibly before the plan was perfected, or maybe
Mhm.
they went sooner than they anticipated. I almost feel like it might have been a opportunity. Like,
Okay.
they've been planning it. They
Mhm.
had the fire ignited. They were ready. They were there. They had talked about it. They planned it right here. The planning was in the, what is that again? Planning and patience.
Okay.
But then
Patience.
this came out, recognition and reward, the number three card.
Oh, God, these cards
And
really reflect it.
this
That's amazing.
almost feels like somebody said, no, we're going. This feels like almost a mastermind or something, kind of the plan.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
almost feels like, nope, it's time to do it. It's time to get our recognition, our reward. It's
Mhm.
time. And
Okay.
so I do feel there's something about the plan that shifted somehow. I'm not
Okay.
really clear on it.
Okay.
Maybe somebody else is picking something up on that as
Yeah,
well.
igniting a trail of gas. We could probably see that in the crime chart. Let's see
Oh.
here. Hold on one second. Okay, not
And
this one.
interestingly too,
Yeah.
when I looked at this card, we just had the eclipse, the ring of fire, and this
Oh
is
my
fire and a
god.
ring. And so this eclipse was, wow, this was a really powerful eclipse that we've had, and I'm
Uh-huh.
sure Val's gonna talk more about that, but I also feel like it's gonna drop A lot of
That's
surprises, a lot
yeah.
of if you wanna call it mic drops, boom, boom. There's
Yes.
gonna be a lot of big things we're gonna go, "Oh, are you kidding me?" But I
That's
just found
insane.
that interesting that we were talking about the ring of fire, and she's got fire, and she's got a ring around her.
That's nuts. I
Yeah,
mean, every
yeah.
time we do this, I get okay, it's crazy. So,
It is.
I mean, okay. So, all right, so we've got these planets, and this is AstroSeek. You can check your birth chart on AstroSeek. It's one of the reasons I use it because it's just familiar to everybody. And so there is this, I think what the T square is really showing us is that these are people in the rave, okay? And they are unable to leave. They can't get out. The cars are
Oh,
not successful. Third house is cars. So, and with the third house ruled by Sagittarius, it could be a lot of cars, could be SUVs. And so it's like everybody's stuck on the road, third house. So interesting that, Mars really represents the terrorists or uh, the perpetrators. So and they're right there, and they're religious, like I said, with the south node right next to them. Religious attack in the air. I mean, one of the ways they did it. So an air sign. So I think that's kind of nutty.
yeah,
And also with let's see here. We've got Pluto, which is revenge. And that's the end of the matter. So they got their revenge.
mm,
But and it trines Uranus in the 8th house of revenge. Uranus is super fast and it's also in the air. Taurus over the farms. Okay.
earth,
So I
yeah.
probably, if it's a trine, I should probably put it in blue, but yeah, so you can see. Uh, So this is like, and it's also like a shock. It's shock revenge. And it's the 22nd degree of,
Yeah,
now, not all the time is it kill or be killed, but in this case, it definitely was.
yeah,
And I want to just touch real briefly on the fact that, and I've been worried about this for a couple of years now, as some of my fellow astrologers also have. And that is when you get one of the outer planets moving towards these end degrees. This is Algol, the
mhm,
devil's star, and it means beheadings. And this is going to be happening for the next few years. We're going to be hearing about just shocking beheadings. So it's and we've seen that before uh, with
yeah,
other crime charts. And Daniel Pearl is one, which is why I added him to the
mm.
list of charts here. So so that's kind of crazy. There's a lot here. It is let me hold on one sec. Just erase this, and then I'm gonna take some questions if you guys have any.
I
Um,
do.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, my question is because I energetically, I feel like, and I have tried to stay out of this a lot, just for those of you out there that are very sensitive to the energy or empathic or any of that,
Mhm.
and you're feeling the heaviness of it, just don't overload yourself with it. You know what I mean? Just it's okay to be aware, but you don't have to
Mhm.
be immersed, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. And so
Mhm.
I kind of try to stay out of the peripheral. But one of the things that I heard of some places that were being attacked were, and obviously the music festival, I think of young people. And then I heard some of like the like some of like older, where you'd house older people. And I felt energetically that was really significant. And I'll tell you why is that I felt like the young people are going to be those ones that are going to push for change. We're tired of war. We're tired of fighting. We're tired of all of this. We
Mhm.
don't want to do this anymore. And I did see a young girl that was on there that they interviewed that was at the music festival, and
Mhm.
she said, and she gave that sentiment like, this is not going to break us. This is just going to make us stronger and more resolved,
Mhm.
and I thought perfect. But think about that from a energetic standpoint. Who do you need to keep afraid? The young people, so they grow up with the fear and they're afraid. And or the older generation that has the wisdom, that can
Mhm.
bring in the wisdom to the situation. And so I'm not
Mhm.
saying they did it on a conscious level, if that makes sense, and maybe I'm going too way out there, but it really felt like that was significant. That, how do we intimidate with fear? And
Mhm.
so if we can keep the young people afraid and get rid of the people that have the wisdom that might be able to help,
Mhm.
that that's where we attack.
Mhm.
I don't know, I just felt that there was a significance to that energetically.
Yeah, and, absolutely, there is all of these images that we're seeing, it's right on time. It's what we're supposed to be seeing now, especially for Americans too. I in my Instagram, you guys probably saw when I posted about a week before this that something isn't actually it was maybe 2 weeks before my Sadi Sadi post where it was so weird. I was like, I'd already seen some news about how babies were dying, and so I knew that because the US, which has the birth chart at 1776, they're going through the Saturn moon transit. It means, we're going into this, mental state, depression, and we're going to see
Mhm,
these I call it a cycle of yuck, where you just see
mhm,
all of these horrible things. And one of the examples was babies dying. And so just 2 weeks after I posted that, we're seeing, car seats with, blood where they were, shot. And I mean, not to trigger,
yeah,
but it's gotten pretty nasty as far as the
yeah.
images. So, now Grace is asking about the fake news, and we
Hmm,
should be able to now, Neptune is fake, and so is Pisces. So, this is the public, and there is a little mini grand trine here with Uranus. So there's a possibility that there might be some extra, maybe with the beheadings, or maybe
right.
there are some numbers that are too high. But the death shock, there might be some fakery there. If I were to see the news, like you can see the ninth house is the news. And sorry that my lines aren't very straight. But, okay, so this is the news, ninth house, and this is ninth house foreign news. I mean, to most people it is. So you'd go to Mercury, which would be the news. And so, I don't really see anything from what is written there. Aha. Uh, third house is what people are talking about. That would be Jupiter in,
Yeah, we're
in
not do
Taurus.
you have a different chart? Because I don't,
Oh,
or are we still on the crime chart? Because if you're
we're still
drawing, we can't see it.
Yep, okay, I'm drawing. Hold on one
Okay.
second. Thank you.
It's alright. It
Oops.
was working.
I gotta do this every time. Gotta open up this. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. Taurus are Jewish, okay? They're the Jews. And so, you've got sextile to, N Neptune. That's a trance. That's, you know, it could be like party drugs. It's in the 6th house though. So, 6th house, I'm not sure what that is. But with, Jupiter, Jupiter represents the Jewish community, and it's in retrograde, and it's in the 8th house. So the Jewish community is in the death house here. And with retrograde, they're not at full capacity. They don't have whatever it is that they need in order to get out. And of course, you've got Uranus right there, and it's like, it's a shock. It's a death shock. So eighth house death, Uranus shock to Taurus, the Jews. And so that it's got a
Yeah.
little mini grand trine, and it goes to Moon, and Moon is famous in the 10th house for all to see. The whole world knows about it. So I'm thinking maybe with that Neptune there, it could be some fakery possible. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we always got to not worry, but we always got to keep in mind that Neptune, because it means lies, it's deception.
Mhm.
And if I think about it hard enough, I could tell you what the sixth house is here. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about stalkers. I mean, would
Mhm.
you consider them to be stalkers? So these could be invisible stalkers, um, because Neptune means invisible. And okay, here's where the success is. Success, you've got
Mhm.
Heart of Fortune, and then you've got these warriors here. Mars is warriors, and then you've got this grand trine there with Saturn. Now, Saturn can represent dark skinned. It can mean religious because Saturn is in Pisces, which is religion or religious. And it also means to return too. They returned once again you know, to exact revenge. So Middle
Mhm.
East, I mean, it's Scorpio, so it is revenge energy. It's always going to be one person trying to get revenge on the other. So
Yeah.
it's something you can't imagine. I mean, this has been going on for over 70 years, I believe. So,
Right.
uh, you
Right.
know, not sure. We're not here to solve that problem. That's for sure.
No.
Just to look at the crime chart. So anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I am going to move on to Netanyahu. We're going to look at his 2022 solar return chart.
Oh,
And this goes until, like, he hasn't had his birthday yet. He's a
oh,
Libra. So isn't it interesting that
oh.
the eclipse is hitting his ascendant? And I got
Ooh.
to tell you, everybody that I know who's ascendant or near the ascendant is being hit by the eclipse, they are feeling it.
Oh,
So he definitely is. And that's a big change, a big loss. So let's see. Can you see my pointer?
yes.
Okay. So
Wow.
so Mars always shows an attack. And this is kind of concerning. Now, this is just for his 2022. So it's almost over.
Yeah.
But Mercury could be vehicle attacks, attacked by vehicles. But it is squaring Jupiter and Neptune. So the attackers are not able to get something. They're not able to do exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel that.
yeah, you felt that. But oops, there is, and this is in his chart. So the attackers return.
Mm.
And this could also
Yeah.
be the ravers. Why would Saturn be the ravers? Because the fifth house of parties. Okay. Isn't
Oh.
it interesting how the fifth house of parties and raves is ruled by Capricorn, which is death? So
Mm.
you would bring that over to the sixth house. They're in the sixth house. Sixth house is not a good um, necessarily a good house for that to be in. It's the house of stalkers, could even be workers. A lot of people were working and they just took time off and they wanted to, have a nice festival.
Sure.
And a big theme was about peace. So the one thing I
Mm.
think that is most, and then we'll pull a card. Uh, what is most interesting about this is that Libra, which would represent the music festival, look how there's a stellium. So if you're looking at your solar return chart and you want to find clues or themes of what's going to happen for your year ahead, for him, it would be last October to this October. There would be a big collection of uh, planets in the very last degrees of Libra. Libra meaning diplomacy. So you might look at that and say, well, this looks kind of uh, successful with part of fortune there.
Yeah.
As far as diplomacy, I mean, gosh, maybe oh, yeah, that's right. There's that music festival they're going to do. And, there's a lot of women there, Venus.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I'm not sure the sun. Okay. What is the sun? So you want to look at these planets. You got to look and see what what house it's representative of for you to understand fully where it's coming from. So if we want to know what sun is, we would look at the 12th house of hidden enemies because
Oh,
the sun rules hidden enemies. So it looks like there's a lot of people gathering here, but there's a hidden enemy there
enemy.
in the mix. And what does this hidden enemy want? Revenge, Pluto.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing too is this was the case for all, just recently our solar returns are getting rid of this Saturn Uranus square. I mean, we all had that at one point. And it's very difficult because Saturn is like stability, Uranus is independence. Um, Saturn is history. It's to stay. Uranus is to escape or to be independence. But here you could see that the ravers, represented by the fifth house of partiers, they are trying to escape and they can't.
Oh,
So I mean, you could say
oh,
that from his chart, I think.
wow.
And let's see. So
Wow, those charts are like spot on, aren't they?
I know. And then in the ninth house too, it's like that would be in the news. Like any type of really big representative of, a company or a country, you would always look to the ninth because you want to know what's going to be spoken about in the news, in the newspapers, in publications. That is the ninth house, publications. So that's what would be reported that year, which would be Taurus is Jews, so Jew shock. And then always remember that when you have North Node in the solar chart, that's going to be what you get for the year. And sometimes what you get is
Oh,
not so good. What he got was a shock, which was Uranus conjunct North Node. North Node also means an emphasizer. It means, really times probably 100. With Pluto, it's kind of like a million, but this is
yeah.
super, super strong, a big shock. And we could probably look at this for another hour and get a bunch of stuff out of it. But
Mhm.
that's what I thought when I saw his last year's solar return chart.
Wow.
Um, so anyway, so let's look. Thank you, Grace, the forensic astro, sixth house of misfortune. Right, the
Yeah.
Ravers were in a misfortune house.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, so hey, Heather. Okay, so yes, flying homemade vehicles from that's from the other chart. So
Oh. Mhm.
yeah, my two daughters go to music raves all the time. I cannot fathom what their families are going through. And then to hear those stories about, um, you know, how they were split up. A lot of friends being split up. And you can see in the crime chart too that there's a lot of failure and a lot of success, which kind of shows some were able to escape, some were not.
Right.
So really, really tough to watch that. Um,
Yeah.
Also, I was looking at some of the images too. You can see a very famous image, which would be representative of this eclipse because Mars is conjunct. Mars is war, Mars is blood, Mars is red. So it would make sense that we would see people dressed in red or things, that the color
Oh,
red. So what happened?
just looking at my candle, it went out.
Oh no.
Sorry.
So yeah, so I guess
Wow.
what do you think we should pull for this? Like maybe what the next I th- well, what we'll do, how about this?
Mm.
What the next phase is, and then
Okay,
we'll look at Netanyahu's 2023 chart.
all right. So the energy kind of going forward. You already know kind of what
Yeah.
happens. So
I mean, we kind of know it's going to be a war, but
yeah, it's going to be a bit of time. I don't think it's going to be. Oh gosh. Wait till you see that card. Okay, let's see. Any other cards? Energy going forward on this.
you're making us wait.
Oh yeah, yeah. I am. I am. Well, because I feel like there's more to it. They want to say a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. I like that. Okay. The first one was patience and planning. So we kind of talked about what's going to happen next. And geez, guys, sorry about this. Is it better? Oh, it's better over here.
Yeah, that
Okay.
looks fine.
So patience and planning. So going forward, this kind of feels like yeah, we got this huge shock, and now it's time to get out of it. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
time to like, where do we go from here? What's happening here? So there's some patience in planning on this, but patience because I feel like it's not going to be resolved quickly. I mean, I don't have a time frame. I didn't really try to feel into that because it's kind of a little depressing if they say it's going to be a long time.
Mhm.
But the universe, we got the universe card, which I think is an interesting card to come out with this too. But I feel like the universe is trying to give us a message from this whole thing. And I know this sounds weird, but that's why I said, oh, this last card was really good. But this patience and planning card also came out with when we were talking about the attack in general.
I know. So
So
you
now this is
shuffled
the
it.
other kind of people that were attacked. So it's
So it
like
came out
they,
twice?
yeah. So
Wow,
this
that's
is
weird.
them saying, you know what? Okay, it's our turn to be patient and plan. But the universe is trying to give us a message because this is the universe card. And this is what I think everybody needs to focus on, especially when it gets too heavy. That this is the number one card, and it says love begins. So I feel like what the universe's message is saying is this is a terrible, terrible time, but maybe there's something in this energy, and especially this energy moving forward. Um, just the whole new Earth energy and everything that this is our hope that love is going to begin, that something's going to change
Mhm.
out of this tragedy. So the
Interesting.
universe is saying, like, don't, it's not despair
Yeah.
because love is going to I always believe the light always wins. And I just feel like they're saying, yeah, love
Mhm.
begins. So, out of
Mhm.
this tragedy.
And
And I
it's
don't know
green.
exactly, huh?
Green is Taurus.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah. Look at all this Taurus energy. We got
yes,
trees, we got water, we got rainbows, we've got
yes,
rivers,
exactly.
a lot of earth energy right here. And so
Interesting.
beautiful. That's a great way to look at it with that Taurus energy. That you can't get more Taurusy than this.
Yeah, I mean, it's money too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know,
Yeah.
but,
And a rainbow and
so interesting. Okay. So I am going to look at this. Oh, by the way, it was called, I mean, there's different names for this, rave, but I believe it was supernova, one of the names of it, and
Oh,
supernova is, explosions and a catastrophe. So, kind of like an omen, if you ask me. I mean,
oh my gosh.
isn't that weird?
100%.
Yep.
That
Mhm.
was some foreshadowing, wasn't it?
I
Oh,
know. Can
wow.
you see my pointer? It's blue.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I am making a note of the 12th house. This is going to start for him October 21st. It's his birthday. Still Libra, but he has got a lot of people plus that eclipse in his 12th house. So this is a
Oh,
stellium and it's the hidden enemies. And uh look how there's all those red lines. That is some serious, serious clash here of what, Pluto? Uh,
mm.
revenge. Revenge.
Yep.
And with Moon right there is
Mhm.
the public. And what's really interesting is the public or Moon is trining Uranus. And let me show you. You've got the Moon. That's the public. The public is
Mhm.
depressed. The public is poor
Wow.
because in Capricorn, but they are trining Uranus, meaning the public is moving, and it looks like they might be getting some money too because of that trine. It's a trine with Taurus. That's money, so it's like electronic funds. The public is being given money. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's going to help. He's going to help them that way somehow. Uh, and let's
Well,
see.
interesting enough, as you're talking about the money is, if you think of the help that we give other foreign countries, but it has to come through and I'm not getting all political. I'm not a political person, but it has to come through the House of Representatives, which is in discord right now. There's not a
Mm,
speaker. Without a
yep.
speaker, you can't do any funding. Without any funding, you can't give any aid to a foreign country. So, um,
Mhm.
timing, timing, I don't know. Was that some timing as
Uh,
well?
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Uh, there's something that you can see that there's this big blue triangle. That is something that's some point of success. I
Okay.
think it could be. And these are the success of the hidden enemies.
Oh,
So it looks like
sad.
this could just be referencing what had just happened because the eighth
Okay.
house is revenge. Uh, the vertex is the point of the year, and Cancer would be to help the homeland, revenge of the homeland.
Oh,
So, eighth house is revenge. The eighth house of revenge is in Gemini. So, I wonder if that means two means. I mean, you'd think there's a lot more than two, but two
yeah.
major plans this
Mm,
year that he has. Now, I just wonder this, is in the sky right now, this Venus and Black Moon Lilith. And I think over the next few months, we might start seeing. I mean, doesn't it make sense not to combine pop star news with this? But Madonna's out there, and that would be Venus and Black Moon Lilith, where there's like this woman, she's
oh,
sexy, she's devious, she has secrets. Usually it's a woman with very dark hair because of Black Moon Lilith, but with Marilyn Monroe, she had the same thing. So you could see
yeah.
that. Now, of course,
Well,
that doesn't
Madonna
have
is naturally dark, I think.
that's true. That's true. She's Italian. Um, but you wonder what is going on there. It's almost like look how there's a trine to the moon, which would be a famous woman, and, um, I don't know, it might be coming out famous women might be coming out online or something and helping, I don't know. but,
Oh,
helping because of the moon to help. So,
yeah.
probably gonna see, you see that anyway, a lot of
Oh, sure.
celebrities and stuff.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
yeah, so with your solar return chart, you're gonna look at the north node for what you get and the south node for what you leave behind. So, he's gonna want to leave behind all of these enemies,
Oh,
but, it might be a little tough. It might be a little tough.
yeah.
I mean, it nearly impossible, but with this blue trine, I really think, you wanna look for where the bombs are, and, this is an attack here. There's more attacks. I mean, that's all you
Yeah.
wanna say there, and
Yeah.
they're gonna keep coming back. Saturn is to return. If you have
Mm.
Saturn in your 4th house, a lot of times that means, it can mean a sadness of the family, a sadness of the homeland. 4th house is
Well, I
homeland.
was gonna say return to the
Or
home
return to the home, or wanting to return to the home, but they
or the
can't
homeland.
because Pisces is by
They're fighting
the
about.
coastal home, but at the same time, the homes go missing. Sometimes when planets are in Pisces, it's like they disappear. So, yeah, that seems
Yeah.
like these anyway, my whole point was the South Node, where he wants to purge these hidden enemies, and, it looks like, you know, I don't know. I don't see a lot of success there.
Yeah.
So, with Netanyahu's birth and transit chart, or, with the transits over it, and these
Mhm.
orange symbols are the transit charts. They go that, or the transit planets, they go, counterclockwise, and it's over his birth planets, and so these orange, um, symbols are gonna go this way, and they're the same for everybody's chart. They just hit, um, his chart a little bit differently,
Mhm.
because he has, look at how many planets he has in Libra. So, and I
Wow.
mean, with that south node, you could predict, I mean, even, a year, 2 years before, as south node was going through, um, Scorpio, like, oh god, south node is heading for this stellium of planets that he has here,
Mhm.
which would be, this is this, stellium. So it's gonna hit all of them. And what is that going to mean? Well, I mean, he has the south node here, so he's going to have a nodal return, which can be very, it can just emphasize a complete shedding of something. With
Oh,
Neptune right there, sometimes that can mean a scandal.
oh,
So, I mean, you could look at this and think of 100 different combinations as the south node moves, and so it's going this way. And by the way, I wanted to also mention too that Pluto was retrograde for a while. And so what does that mean? Pluto means secret. So retrograde is like kind of dormant. And so right as Pluto went direct, this happened, and it was within a matter of days. So what happened was the secret of the attack came to the surface. So definitely something that we want to look at from
um,
a general perspective, I think,
mhm.
that, what is going to come to the surface, in news in the US, you can see a lot of people coming out with their secrets, like
Yes,
Will
yes,
Smith was,
absolutely.
separated for 7 years from Jada Pinkett, just stuff like that where you're like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah,
So it can be
yes.
kind of like the superficial type of stuff that's celebrity news, or it can even affect you in your own life. You have to see where it is
Yeah,
that transit Pluto is coming out of, and for him, Pluto went direct, um, well, it's still retrograde here, but when it went direct, it was conjunct Jupiter, and it was squaring Libra, the music festival. There's look at how you've got
oh my
Neptune,
gosh.
which is a rave. He
Wow.
literally has a rave in his birth chart. I hope, this doesn't get back to him because he might not be very thrilled with that, but, I'm assuming not, but it's, um it's a
Yeah,
little bit
he's
nutty.
gonna be calling you and like, "Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, but,
I need a reading now."
the it's Libra is so prominent in his chart, and how that would reflect that music festival is just a little bit nuts. And then in
Yeah.
anybody's birth chart, you're going to look at whether they have a T square or not. He naturally has one, but there's also some transit charts or transit planets that are creating this. But you see that T square, which is the
Mhm.
red triangle. And so it's going on the eighth house,
Mm.
uh, which is revenge. And then the 11th house is hopes and dreams. And so the south node, if it's going through your 11th house and it's hitting some of the planets sometimes, it means that, maybe you might be shifting your idea of the future, which is the 11th house. It's also friendships, it's also communities. So communities are shed, leaving behind communities.
Hmm.
So it's
Wow.
kind of heavy stuff.
It is
So,
heavy stuff, but it is a heavy, it is what it is.
yep, I know.
You know?
And so I just wanted to
Heavy.
show, Daniel Pearl, if anybody remembers. The only reason, obviously, this is a whole different, story. He was a Wall Street Journal reporter. And this is a different country, so he's in Pakistan and decided
Mhm.
that he wanted to, do a big interview with, one of the leaders over there, and then ended up they kidnapped him, and I think it was 7 or 9 days later, they cut off his head. So they beheaded him, and if you'll recall, sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way.
Probably.
So, but, ugh, why did I say that way? I'm just like, it's so sad.
Yeah,
But this poor man, was beheaded on on camera, and it was
yeah,
shown to the world. So I wanted to just show you how Moon was in Algol territory, which is at 26 degrees. So same types of thing when you see, the chart for the music festival, you're seeing that Taurus energy there. He's a Jewish writer, and in fact, this squares Mercury, which is to write, famous writer. But he
wow.
doesn't want to be, because of the square there, that shows that you don't want to be famous for that. And
Mm,
then when he did it, Mercury was in retrograde. So,
um,
it was a
yeah,
terrible, terrible time to do that, and
yeah.
terrible idea. So, anyway, let's see. So should we okay. Um Desert Rose asking, if you want to know how to compile a solar return chart, you go to AstroSeek, and you just pull your birth chart, and then you're going to click on the right hand side. Just click solar chart, and it'll be the date. So make sure you get the date right, because sometimes, we will be in 2023, but you still want to pull your 2022 chart if your birth day starts, before December of last year. December 31st. And then you click, at least the way I do it is you click on solar chart only, and you'll be able to see the kind of ascendant that you're going to be that year.
Yeah.
So, oh, by the way, I wanted to show you too. Um, Look at how you can see this one of Netanyahu. Can you see it?
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And with a picture of his face on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
2023.
Yep. For
Yep.
2023, look at where his ascendant is. That's what you're going to feel like that this year, right? And it's in Scorpio. So you're going to feel a betrayal, or you'll feel like you want to get revenge, possibly. So,
Mhm.
not to say that, I mean, it could be mild. It doesn't always have to be, where you're having, you know, some kind of issue where it becomes deadly. But, just look back. That's another way to study too, your solar return charts. Look back and see what the ascendant was in certain years, and see how
Yeah,
you
that's
were
a great
feeling
idea.
that year. And
Right.
you'll be like, "Oh my God, no wonder I wanted to do this or that." So
Mhm.
That is definitely, it looks like he's going to be very vengeful, but there's Jupiter there and Jupiter's families. That's probably going to get in the way. He wants to go and bomb everybody, but you've got families and you've got children,
Yeah,
Jupiter's children,
innocence. Mhm.
innocence. So he can't get his revenge because the children are right there. So
Right.
there you go. Okay.
Mm,
So I guess that's pretty
okay.
much it. Should we talk a little bit about Idaho for a second? If anybody feels like it, because you had a couple of comments
Yeah.
that were a little bit crazy.
Well, yeah, I last time when we were and I had to leave because my
Mhm.
mother-in-law fell, and we were talking and we were just into that conversation about how my guides kept showing me a trash can, not a trash can, but a trash receptacle. And then I
Okay.
kept hearing bagged and tagged, and
Yes. Okay. I
and
remember that.
evidence. And and you were looking at the chart and you were saying, yes,
Yeah.
trash is a big player. Trash is a really big player in this.
Mhm.
So, today, and I don't know if anybody saw this, but it was just today, someone had posted some footage. Now I didn't vet it. I don't know if it's real, if it's fake. I mean, it's real, but I don't know. You can always embellish things and stuff like that. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
The gal that's narrating it says that she thinks it looks like people, which I don't know how she could even possibly tell that.
Okay.
But yeah, and so yeah, Heather, exactly. So the Linda Lane at the dumpster, but it was so weird because when I saw it, I'm just like, I've always seen someone in a hoodie, and then the dumpster thing was so much. I kept seeing it. They kept showing it to me. My guides kept showing it to me the
Mhm.
last time we were on, and we got cut off. So I thought it was just kind of interesting that I saw that today before we came on. And
Yep.
I'm like, I don't even know what to think of this.
Well, what's the
But it's a
whole
different time. And
Okay.
so that blows up the whole timeline. And I was wondering, can Val do a crime chart at that time for that area? Or I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know how
Okay.
you do it.
Um, well, stay tuned because we will.
Okay.
What do you remember what time it was?
It said, I believe it was 3:14. I can look real close on my
Okay,
or real quickly, I
3:14.
should say, on my phone.
Yeah, thank you, Heather.
3:15, excuse me.
3:15.
3:15.
So what this woman is claiming, and it's pretty new, is that somebody put something in a dumpster at 3:15, and it was on Linda Lane. I wonder if it was around that, SUV that was on camera, or, like, how is she getting this information is my
See,
question.
it to me, it looks like it's a security cam or DoorDash. I don't know that she really even said. Um, but all I'm just, and then we had the journalist guy that came out with a thing about Kaylee's dad, and it's just like, talk about boom, boom. It's just there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of all coming up.
Yeah,
So if and some people looks like on the chat they say that they watched it.
yeah.
Um, but it's clearly a man wearing some kind of
Are you serious?
clearly a man wearing a coat with a hoodie. What?
I mean, no, I'm just saying
Oh,
he had that on. I'm listening to you,
yeah, you
girl.
can see that clearly. You can't see a face. You can't see
Okay.
anything else. But
Oh
he
my god.
clearly goes to a dumpster and puts something in it. And I don't know because it's not very clear. But remember how I said I felt like the dumpster had like a side to it. And I
Mhm.
see that there's a stop sign, but I can't tell if that has a side on it or not. It's
Okay.
not very clear.
Well, remember what we were talking about, Pluto now direct. Things are gonna start
Yes, the
coming out. The
secrets.
secrets are coming out, and I give it maybe another maybe couple of months because sometimes it's a little bit slow, but slowly I think we're gonna be fed some more things that we didn't know before. So,
Yes, and he
mm,
stands there for quite a while to put that in there. Now, it's
okay.
not clear what he's putting in there. Now she's speculating and she's saying that she sees another figure or somebody watching. I don't know if that's a reflection. I don't know what that particular thing is, but you can clearly see a person walking. You can clearly see that they have like a hoodie on.
Okay.
And you can clearly see them putting something in a dumpster. And they stand at the dumpster for a bit of time. Now, she
Mm,
says she thinks she sees a dog go by or
okay.
a cougar or something. Now, I don't know anything about the cougar, and maybe some of you other people on here heard like there was a cougar in the area. I don't really know. But I guess just the point that that came up and it came
Mm,
up and I saw it right before I was coming on with Val, just
I
kind of
know. You were
energetically made me
so
go, "Hmm."
you were freaked out.
I
Uh,
was. I was a
not
little freaked
Now,
out.
not to say anybody who throws something out that night might be throwing out something from the crime scene, but, it is pretty
Exactly.
close. It's close to the crime scene, and so it bears looking into.
Yeah,
So,
and did somebody say that it's CCTV? I
yes. Yep, yep.
Okay. What exactly is CCTV? Is that like
It's a
a
closed circuit, so it's usually, something
Oh, okay.
just,
So, like,
surveillance
from a
kind of video.
parking area, like, they're
Yeah,
okay,
mhm.
alright.
So,
Because
it's
it
just
looks like it was by apartments or something, and
yeah, exactly. Let's
now
see,
she
so
said the thing that I saw, and then she said, "I've got a clearer, video," but I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
well, we'll
Does
have to check it out,
Yeah.
definitely.
Security
Uh,
cameras. Okay, there, 320 Linda Lane. Okay,
1320.
Heather.
Hmm, let's see.
Yeah. It
Okay.
did kind of freak me out a little bit just because it was the trash thing, and Val and I have talked so much about the trash,
I know. We
and to
saw that
actually see
from
a figure walk and throw something in the trash,
I
I
know.
don't know, it just kind of freaked me out a little bit, but that could be anything. Who
Mhm.
leaked the footage? I don't know. How did this
Yeah,
lady get it? Unless it was part of her security camera. I do remember one thing she said as she was narrating was she had this footage for a while. So that makes me a little bit suspicious too, because with this type of case going on, why the hell are you sitting on footage that could be helpful?
exactly, and if some of you will recall, I think it was early December, maybe late November of 2022, I had done a show where, there would be a lot of leaks, and what are leaks? It's South
Oh,
Node in the crime chart, so South Node really plays a part in, the Idaho crime chart, and it means to let go of, so remember it was in the 2nd house, I believe, of Scorpio, so secrets, Scorpio, are leaked. Now, will they be about second house things like
yeah.
food and money? We don't know.
Mhm.
But as far as the eclipse is going right now, we wanted to talk about it for just 1 second,
Oh, yeah.
and that is, it's the south node and solar. Eclipses tend to be, I mean, they're new moon eclipses. The lunar eclipse is going to happen later on in October. I think it's the 28th. So that's more of that can be kind of a real much bigger one than the solar. So I
Oh
have a
gosh, are
feeling.
you kidding me? I really felt the solar one.
I know, I know. I did
Really
too. I really
strong.
did. This one was bigger than most. And I have South Node about to conjunct Uranus. So it's gonna be a shocker for sure. Which I don't even like to talk about. But anyway, So that's the one thing you've gotta remember, that when you let something go, though, something else comes in its place.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, you just have
Yes.
to remember that it's good for you, it's good for, the universe wants to replace things in your life, you know?
I
Now, not that some things can be replaced, but,
Yes, absolutely.
so and the other
But go
thing too is usually with these eclipse, and, I don't think Grace is on here anymore, but she had predicted when, and you might be able to see it in one of my past shows, if I remember, I'll put it on here for, the Delphi, and she had predicted that with the eclipse, we would probably get, um, an arrest for Delphi, and like clockwork, we got it.
Wow.
So, I'm thinking that we might get more information about Idaho, but at the same time,
Mm.
there might be a new whodunit here. There's usually, the universe wants us to put the one aside and focus on something else. So I hope
I'm
not, but,
telling you.
that's just the way it goes. So
Yes.
hopefully.
Well, I know that, and this is just me talking logically, if I was the defense if I was the defense person and I saw something like this, I would be all over it
Yeah, saw
because
something
the
like what?
time frame doesn't match
Oh,
what
okay,
they're
yeah,
trying to say, the time
yes.
frame of him being in the area.
Mhm.
It's about an hour early.
Toy, this is a great idea. How about the chart for the 26th court hearing? Okay. Yeah, we could do that. So,
That would be a good one to go in conjunction with that because I don't know, there's just
mhm,
a
yep.
lot going on. You just, I saw that empty courtroom. I don't know.
I know, Amy
Oh,
J. I am wondering about that. I think there's something there. And, if
mm,
you guys like this channel, please remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And you can
yeah.
also join, be a valedictorian, which really supports the channel, and we thank you for that. And, we also have, a lot more in the library for the valedictorians for you to peruse. Amy J, what are you doing lately? Are you gonna be doing a podcast or,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm uh, working on getting my podcast up and going. I do some channeling, of cold cases, and I look at the Idaho case as well and do some channeling and, just
awesome.
some big collective messages too, because I feel like that we need to, with the energy out there, it's so heavy right now. And,
It's
matter of
heavy.
fact, my daughter uh, texted me the other day and said, I'm feeling anxiety around the things I'm seeing online with everything that's going on in,
Yeah. Mhm.
with Israel and stuff like that. And I just said to her, I says, limit, limit what you watch, use discernment.
Yes.
There might
Yeah.
be one or two people, Val especially, that you watch consistently and get good information and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff, but don't go down the rabbit hole. And if you feel overwhelmed, you just take care of yourself, you go out in nature.
Yep.
Every time it sneaks in, I told her, right now, fear is the energy that is in that whole situation. And that's where
Mhm.
they want it to be. Those that are trying to oppress the others,
Mhm.
or, they do it with fear. So don't add fear to the energy. You know,
Exactly.
when it comes to you, just send it off in whatever way feels good for you. Send it off with love, pray,
Mhm.
send it off with good energy. Just say, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for these people. I'm sending you some beautiful love and energy and, this kind of thing. And put that out there. Because collectively, if we do that, the fear we're going to dissipate some of that fear. And that's how we keep
Absolutely.
people, um, that's how we keep
Controlled.
people controlled
Yeah,
and stuff.
absolutely.
So I told her to do that, and that's just for anybody out there. And the solar eclipse, I'm telling you, it was so strong for me personally, and I
Mhm.
feel like now, and maybe it's Pluto too, because you just said Pluto's going direct. I feel like it's going to be mic drop after mic drop
Yeah.
after mic drop for
Yep.
little bits. We're gonna, especially around the things that we're talking about.
Well, Saturn goes direct, early days of November, so that'll be another mic drop. Then, Jupiter is going to finally come out of I mean, Jupiter is the ruling planet for Pisces and Sagittarius. So if you're Pisces or Sagittarius, really, I mean, any planet that's in retrograde that is ruling your, chart or
Yeah.
one of your major signs, you're going to really feel like it. So, if you're trying to date or if you're trying to get a job and your ruling planet is right now Saturn or Jupiter, it's tough. It's tough. It's like you got to be patient. You really got to be
Yeah.
patient. You're not at full capacity until probably early in next year. So
Yeah.
I
But
probably
hang
shouldn't.
in there. Hang
I
in there.
know, hang in there. I just wrecked my car tonight, and
Oh my gosh, you
I never
did?
do. I wasn't thinking. I had so much on my mind from the eclipse. I wasn't even watching, and I just like
Yeah.
I reversed into the pole that's, like, next
Oh
to
my
my car in the garage. I mean, at least
yeah.
I didn't hit somebody else, but yeah, you just have so much on your mind, you're not paying attention, and so that's what happens.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Mhm.
Exactly, because you have all your personal stuff going on, plus you've got all this astrology stuff
Yeah,
going on,
all
and
those planets,
just
things
that
to watch.
collective energy. I'm a mess. I'm just like, maybe I shouldn't even be driving.
Yeah, I know.
Some days
I
I get in the
know.
car and go, this could be a really bad idea.
Oh, so one more thing. Maybe that's what I'll leave behind is my car, and I'll just get a new one. But
Well,
anyway,
and
I'll just
one
yeah.
door closes, the other one opens. So maybe you're going to be
Exactly.
closing the door on that car and opening a new one.
Right. It's actually hitting, my ascendant and, Uranus in late degrees of my 12th house. So, and Uranus represents, my 6th house. So, it's, no, my 5th house. So it is, family stuff is really along the lines of what I'm thinking about. But it changes every year. We've got eclipses all the time.
Mhm.
Constantly things
These
are
are
coming
just
in.
really, really powerful ones, and so I think when we have awareness, when
Mm,
Val can tell us that, when we can see that in the astrology, it
yes,
just gives us a little bit of understanding to maybe how we're feeling, you
exactly.
know? You're
Yep.
not crazy.
No, you're not crazy.
It's the
You're with us.
eclipse.
Don't worry. We're gonna get through this. We are gonna get
Right.
through this. So, well, Amy J, thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm
No?
good, I
Okay.
think. I just
Okay.
love coming on here. It's so much fun.
I know it
Your
is.
your group is so great.
Yeah, and,
They're so kind and they're so insightful and they,
I know they give us
put out
info
things that they
sometimes.
know and
Exactly. All right. Well, we will be on sooner than later to talk about the next, probably, uh, updates with Idaho and the Moscow case. That this is going to be a real doozy because one thing after another is going to start coming out, I think. And I think you think
mhm.
that too.
And
So
the trial's not that far out, at least the trial date that they have set
that they've
at this
said,
particular time.
okay, which one was that? What do you remember what the date was?
Uh,
It's okay. Is it coming up, like, in the next couple months? I
oh, no,
thought
I think
that
it's coming up this month.
oh, was it? Okay, so is the
But it's
26th.
just for, a
I thought it was
couple
just a
different
hearing.
things,
Okay.
cameras and
Okay, it's a
yeah, this
hearing.
it's just more of a hearing, I guess,
Gotcha.
on a couple different things. One will be, public allowed, the other one will not be,
Okay. Okay.
closed session or whatever you call it, so
Okay, we'll do that one, Joy. Great. All right. Thanks, everybody. And check out my Instagram when you get a chance at Forensic Astrologer, or you can also go to my website, forensicastrologer.com. I'm kind of redoing some of the cases on there. So you may not see a whole lot of crime charts right now, but I'm adding to them. And you can also see my library and get some suggestions on forensic astrology. So thank you,
Yes.
Angel D. We love you too. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Bye,
Bye bye.
everyone.